This is the M.Zuiko 300mm f4 Pro. And I bought it as a possible replacement for this huge lens, the SONY 200-600. In this video, my first impressions of the M.Zuiko lens after using it for 1 day. I happened to wake up really early today, so I decided to go out before sunrise to try to capture some local wildlife and see how the low light performance is on the OM system. I was really surprised to find that the OM1 paired with this lens gave me perfect subject detection and autofocus. Extremely good autofocus for birds and wildlife. I did not really expect this on a Micro Four Thirds system. I couldn't really get that close though to the hares. They were pretty skittish, so I had to photograph them at some distance and do some cropping. Besides the awesome autofocus performance, I was also of course struck by how small and lightweight this lens is, considering that it is the equivalent of a 600mm f8 lens on full frame. My Sony 200-600 is a lot heavier and bigger, and that is a big reason I became interested in this Micro Four Thirds alternative. But of course there is a catch. And the catch with this lens is that even though it is very small and has a very long focal length in full frame equivalent, it is on a Micro Four Thirds system, so you get less resolution, you get more noise at the same ISO level in the camera, of course, because you're using a smaller sensor, and that is the reason this lens can be that small. Most of the photos I'm showing you in this video are slightly cropped. Although this lens has very good reach, it is often not really enough for a lot of wildlife, at least if you're me, who is a bit clumsy and who has bright orange pants. So it's quite hard for me to get close enough to all the animals. But I do plan on trying this together with the 1.4 times teleconverter, which would make this lens effectively an 840mm lens in full frame equivalent. And I think that is really the sweet spot for this lens. I think that would be an amazing combination. And even though I cropped most of the photos in this video, as you can see, they turn out very sharp. And that is because this lens is extremely sharp. I was actually blown away by just how sharp it is. It is probably one of the sharpest lenses I have ever tried in my life. So the lens has very small size and weight. It has perfect sharpness, But there was a third thing that also made me very curious about this lens, and that is the very short minimum focusing distance. It's not quite a macro lens, but not far from. The minimum focusing distance is not more than 1.5 meters or something like that, so you can easily photograph things you find on the ground, and I think this lens will be great for butterflies and dragonflies this summer. And if you add the teleconverter, you can of course focus even closer, so that will be interesting to try later when I get my hands on it. This lens is not cheap. It's around $2,700, so it's a lot of money. The most expensive lens that I have ever purchased. But all of it is a bit relative, because when we talk about wildlife lenses with good reach, with great sharpness, you can often pay a lot more than $2,700. Many wildlife lenses cost $10,000 and more. So actually, considering that, I think this lens is pretty good value for money. Another thing I love about this lens is the retractable lens hood that is built into the lens. It's never in the way, but it's always there when you need it. One thing I didn't like about it though was that it did not have like a definite click, and as you can see here, it's quite a struggle to retract it when you want to. Maybe I'm missing something, but it didn't really feel that high quality. I do love this focus clutch, the same kind of clutch that you have on the OM 90mm lens. Really convenient when you want to switch to something that feels like genuine manual focusing. There truly is something magical with the Sandemar Nature Reserve in Stockholm. I find myself going here more and more often, and I always get so relaxed every time I'm here. I get into the zone, into a meditative state, and I always find it very beautiful here, no matter the time of the year. So, will I sell my Sony 200-600 and switch to this lens instead? I'm not sure. I need to use it a few more times before I make a final decision. Right now, I really love this lens. Yes, you sacrifice some dynamic range and some noise by using this lens on a Micro Four Thirds camera instead of a full frame lens with the same reach. But right now, to me, it feels like it's worth it to get smaller size and weight and smaller minimum focusing distance. Follow me for more wildlife and macro photography videos. See you soon again.